Hi Wally. In anticipation of the very many DVDs and clips and whatever, I thought I should at least have one thing that you really like, something that I've come up with somewhat recently, but inspired by you, if you will, and by Ackerman. And one of the things I told you, I said it's probably a good idea to practice with more than one deck, or a deck and a half, and two decks, which is probably true. But truth be told, I've never actually done this. But then my son, he's not yet 3. He was throwing a whole bunch of decks of cards on the floor, and I swept them up, and this is, I don't know, somewhat more than a deck. And I thought, well, let's try it out, just for fun. I mean, because I never do this. And you practice all the regular shifts and so forth, and alright, I mean, they're okay. And one of the things we've already talked about, this is Ackerman idea of just turning the cards face down, so that's clearly a good idea. And but there isn't really a reason to go from here to there, but it does cover quite a bit. And one of the things that you like, and one of the things that if I had to condense you in one word, and one word that if I had to sum up your magical nature in one word, that one word is probably something that you would very much agree with, and that would be locker. And I thought, well, so anyhow, so what you would do would be just that. I mean, this is your, you know, the kernel of the focus of the nucleus of your magical being is this. I mean, I have this thing, rhythm is king, but whatever. And I thought, well, locker actually is no tension. I mean, if you translate into your hands, anytime you tense, that's precisely not that. Locker means, I mean, loose, obviously. Probably should have done this in German, but anyhow, so you know what I mean. It's loose, it's locker, whatever. And in this case, what I've come up with is just to do this. It's just like you're airing out the cards, and you do nothing. I mean, I don't know if you can see this okay. You do nothing. There's no amount of tension whatsoever. The card, I mean, I can do this with the cards face up, it doesn't matter. Just do this, and they just change, actually change an 8 into an 8. And it really is, I mean, it's a shift every time you just let go of the cards. You just air them out, and if you don't do the shift, it looks exactly the same. So I mean, this is the action that's supposed to simulate, and this is the action. But the simulation looks precisely the same. There's no more tension in the simulation at all. We've already agreed that all shifts look great on a camera, and you've seen that little demo that I did there, and it looks like trick photography. So that's not the point. Jan Logeman, that little discussion we had, he said, well, he was sitting 3 chairs away from me, but he noticed me doing a pass every time. Now, my passes are not bad. I know they're not. From the right angle, they may be well invisible, but not imperceptible. And I was kind of pissed off at him saying this, but then I thought about it. I thought, well, actually, you know, the reason why I was pissed off is because he was right, and it's true. And so this is, I call it a reverse Ackerman. Sorry I had to do so much talking before, but I really want you to appreciate how highly, at least I regard this particular shift. Reverse Ackerman in the sense that you do go from horizontal to perpendicular, but in Ackerman's you go from perpendicular to horizontal. And in this case, you go from horizontal to vertical, almost perpendicular. Because what you do is you just take the lower packet and you let, I mean, this, I would imagine this doesn't even look that bad from this angle. It certainly doesn't look bad from this angle, and usually, by the way, every time you watch my own tapes, I always do this from the worst possible angle. I mean, this is the worst angle for any sort of pass. If you look on this way, or from the very front, you should see, you shouldn't, but chances are that you, not here, not there possibly, but certainly here, and sometimes not here, but where the cards come back. But in this case, I don't think you will see anything even there. There isn't anything to see. I mean, from the front, because the outward action is just that. And what you do is, you just imagine that this half the deck that's held, it's just held. You just imagine it's not there, and you just do that. That's what your right hand does. It doesn't do any more and doesn't do any less. It just takes the lower packet and just airs it out like you usually would. And the presence of the top packet, if it's held loosely, and that's, I mean, it's really loose, it's held enough for it not to drop, but it's not pressed against the other hand. Because usually you try to build up some tension to then, particularly any sort of rifle pass, you try to build up some tension, and that speeds up the move. You don't do that. There's absolutely no tension other than just enough to hold the top packet, no more than that. This finger cradles naturally because it would just receive the cards from here. It cradles naturally, and it just stays cradling the way it would cradle the whole deck if you were to do what you pretend to be doing. So there is no first finger flash. That's eliminated, I think. I mean, I just came up with this like yesterday, but there may still be some practice to be done, but I think ideally there's nothing to be seen here either, because this hand covers, I mean, it covers the weak part. As it does this, whatever's happening underneath the hand you can't see. As it goes up, this packet has already vanished, but you're really not done with it with a sleight just yet. But you can't see it any longer. It's out of frame. So if you do it with the cards face up, it's the shortest possible distance that these cards can travel. But the motion of the cards is immediately natural as well, because the motion of the cards, it commences as it would commence if you were just pick up the cards. You pick up the cards, it doesn't commence there. You pick them up, or sometimes it does. You pick them up, and that's all you see. So, but there's a certain non-movement there. So if you do this, there's the non-movement. The pass is not done yet. The cards are still apart. But the non-movement, or the arrest of the movement, you can perceive this. You now see this card and you let go. So if you do this again, let me just do this again. There's a brief moment when you just see that card, and only then do they start to drop. And even when they do drop, the top card doesn't move. So the changed top card is perfectly congruent, it's consistent with the picture that you're trying to portray. Not of the changed cards. The changed card changes, but the movement of both packets is entirely consistent with the movement of the single packet were you not to do the move. Anyhow, it may have sounded a little bit theoretical, but just trust me on this. Try it out. And if there's anything about this that you don't like, it's due to my lack of practice. I don't think it's due to lack of the move. There is possibly some practice to be done. I have never seen this before myself. I understand if it looks really good on camera, you might say, okay, it's the camera not capturing this. But if you understand the looseness that's involved, you just pick it up and let go. And that's what does it. You can look at this from the back, I think, probably, I don't know. If you look at it from the back, even there, I mean, once you are there, this is like a stop action shot if you were doing this. Okay, that makes sense. There is, at this point, the move is done. But the movement, I mean, there is no perceptible pause in you just going up and just dropping this other bit. Anyhow, I strongly hope you like this, and I urge you to try it, because if there's any technique that I can think of that perfectly suits you, I mean, this whole loco loose sort of thing, but fortunately for me, it suits me as well. So anyhow, I think it's something that you'll have fun with if you play around with. Thank you.